All right, you guys, part two. So anyway, like I was saying, like going through my family and stuff like that, and finding people who have issues with me, and then trying to like dish out some form of some false sense of karma because of that. If we talk about it and we're truthful about it, maybe it really wasn't even that type of a situation for them. It could have just been y'all that had the issue, but y'all couldn't do anything about the issue that you had. So you had to comb through all of the interactions that I had had before, just so that you could find a reason to justify trying to do something that you really wanted to do for your own situation. But because it wasn't justified, you found some form of justification in maybe listening to one side of a story from other people without even checking with me. But your disdain, your dislike for me is what caused you to do what you did in the way that you did it. So my responding to that and not knowing what the heck is going on and what is all of this and people not knowing, I've already been through so much, right? So I'm responding to shit that's like I've already been dealing with this shit for years. So what is all of this, right? So now I'm realizing, I'm like, oh, okay, it's starting to make a little bit more sense. That was something that was going on already. Somebody was looking for a reason to put you through some things for their own personal reason. But they didn't have a reason to do it. It was like something that they were feeling about something that had taken place involving me. It wouldn't have been enough. Let's just say that it wouldn't have been enough to do all of that, all of what has gone on, right? So let's comb through the past to see what other things we might be able to serve out karma for. It's giving that. And I'm like, because this is really weird. It's very odd, and I don't really do wrong by people too often. So for me, I'm like, where is all of this energy coming from? Because I'm a firm believer in you put certain energy out and it does come back to you. But I've always put out good energy. So I'm like, what is all of this? It's because somebody who has more authority in a certain realm, or maybe appears to have more authority in a certain realm, they feel a way about you and they're trying to figure out how they can get to you. They want you to feel a way. They want you to go through something, whatever it is that they need to go through. So they're trying to figure out exactly how to do that. So going to my family, finding out certain things about my family, hacking into my emails, going through my phone records and things like that, just trying to find a reason, digging up old arguments, disagreements, things that really should just be family's business, things that can be resolved between family members that don't really need outside help, right? Doing that, going to those people, and then presenting, all of this is alleged. This is what I'm picking it up. This is what I'm feeling. And I'm like, I think this might be along the lines of what I've been experiencing. Then going to my family members and making it seem as if, oh, she's going to be this big star because you saw me on television. And then asking them for their input for maybe some type of an interview or a project. I don't know. I had someone reach out to me some years ago in reference to some form of a interview, for the newspaper. And then I looked the person up, and the person, he was like a big deal, but I missed the email. The email came in and it was in my draft box, and I was just like trying to, like clear out my drafts and stuff like that. And he was in my draft box and I found him and I was like, oh my God, this is like from several years ago, and I missed it. And I was like, well, I guess it'll come back around. Maybe, I don't know. Um, it never came back around for me, I guess because I didn't get back to him, but he wanted to interview me for an article, and I didn't understand what he wanted to interview me for. At the time, I wasn't necessarily active in modeling. I was kind of like more so behind the scene. And I was just doing like local runway shows and stuff like that. I hadn't even gotten the chance to do any print work yet. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a lot of weird stuff was going on. And I was just like, okay, well, I didn't get the email, but I probably would have had I gotten it, right? So I'm thinking, like just kind of like seeing stuff like that when you've hacked into somebody's system and then feeling like, okay, maybe I can make this something, I think I just kind of came across a bunch of scammers who collaborated with some people who were really legit. And I think that us being exploited and spied on for so many years, being targeted individuals, I feel like that may have put us at, in a situation where we would be vulnerable because we didn't know that we were being watched like that. We didn't know. And my kids and stuff, and like, that's crazy, man. So anyway, there's a lot, and that's where there are a lot of pauses and and this and that in this situation here, because it's kind of like the way I'm feeling is just, I just feel like for years people have caused me so many issues in my life, Hold on, guys. Like so many fucking issues in my life. And I don't know. It doesn't make me feel the way that it did in the beginning, but it's good to know that people do things like this. So now I know moving forward, not to trust people, or that I was right not to trust people, or if my, discernment tells me to back away from some things or some people or situations, that I'm right to do that, and I should not second guess that at all, which I've already learned that lesson years ago, but this is just yet another to help me solidify those lessons and say, okay, well, that's good. I'm glad that I that I was right not to trust, basically. I was right not to trust. Also, just not trusting that people are who they say they are, recognizing that there are, costume shops and stuff like that where people will go and get costumes or get some shit made just so that they can pretend to be something that they're not. Taking more time to put two and two together so that, if something happens and then another thing happens and then there's like a series of events that's happening, like, are these events connected? I should have done that for sure. I've learned to do that over the last handful of years. Also, just not trusting anybody and everybody just because they know the word. That's a big one for me. I learned that one immediately. Don't trust people because they know the word. Don't trust people because they go to church. Don't trust people because they carry a Bible. None of that. Just have discernment with everybody. Don't trust yourself around just anybody, because sometimes then people be trying to play you and they be wearing a mask, So I learned that. I also learned that, sometimes people like to, hide behind images that don't necessarily represent who they truly are. And in the age of like AI and all this shit, I think that with me just knowing all of this stuff, that's one of the reasons why I'm even more so a target now, because it's like, okay, she really picking up on shit. And I'm like, well, it's not necessarily about picking up on stuff. It's just like, it's out here, like it's in the world. So it's like, how do we not know or consider that could be an option? I mean, how do we not? We're in the age of technology, and technology can be used as a form of witchcraft if it falls in, if it's under the dominion of the wrong person with the wrong intention. But yeah, I feel like that's what happened. So it all boils down to this situation where, because everybody realizes that they have done some shit that is like immensely illegal, bitch, it's like now they're like, okay, how do we get out of this? The only way we can get out of this is to sacrifice Ty. So that's another way that it happened. This has come from so many different angles, you guys. It's been ridiculous figuring it out. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I've had some help. Thank you to my angels. I appreciate y'all for sure. If it wasn't y'all helping, then it was my discernment already being like front and center, and confirmations coming through, within my environment, or, somebody might say something, or something might come to mind, or something like that. So that's another thing that I would like to kind of acknowledge while I'm in this situation, or while I'm kind of like closing some things out. You know what I mean? I think it's important to really, acknowledge that. Yeah. So I talked a little bit about cloning on Filling Her Own Shoes. It was a movie that I saw. It came out. It was a good movie. It was a big deal. It's called, I think it said they cloned Tyrone or something like that, child. That was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I watched it several times. It was a very good movie. Funny, but informative. Okay. For real. But anyway, y'all, I'm not going to stay on this topic for too much longer. I think you guys get the point. But just know that for my own safety and for my own record, it might not be a good idea to keep leaving things by my car. It may not be a good idea to keep trying to set up shop around where I am. It may not be a good idea because I record people. And, the watchers are being watched at this point, So that's just me giving you guys a heads up, because I'm a fair person. But no, there won't be any kidnapping. There will not be any forced trafficking. There will not be any kind of, I'm not going for all of that, especially when it comes to my family. All right. But I see what you guys are doing, and I don't think it's very fair. Okay. So how do we close this out? I'm not sure. I think I've done my part. I'm going to do the best that I can do and continue to make my moves the way I need to make my moves. The only thing that we can do at this point is literally cut our losses, and we have to move forward. And I think that's the best advice for everybody involved, because this has been a mess. It has thrown me off my fucking journey. I could have already saved the money and built the app by now. But I guess that was the whole point, was to kind of distract me from doing that, right? Once again, nobody really asked me about what my app was going to be for. They didn't realize that it was inclusive. They just looked at it as competition, I guess. Anyway, you guys enjoy your Sunday. I'm about to go find me a little pastry or something. I've been on all these damn vegetables and shit. Shit, I'm hungry. I'll talk to y'all later.